Thank you very much, Priyamvada. Thank you very much, Priyamvada. A warm welcome to all the panelists, to the speakers, and also a warm welcome to all the audience virtually. Today we are discussing in this session a very, very important topic, which is WASH, meaning water, sanitation, and hygiene. Very needless to say that how important all the three elements are in lives of everyone, every person, every being, but especially for the underprivileged where there is an issue about access, availability, or opportunity. So the importance of this topic is very much underscored. And I'm very glad that today we have a really esteemed panel to discuss on this, to share their views, especially from perspective of financing in WASH. And I'm sure we'll also touch upon certain other relevant topics that will sort of, in the end, aid us in making some positive way forwards and recommendations, basically. Without much ado, we would like to hear now from our panelist, and initially kindly briefly introduce yourself and the key thrust of the work that you or your esteemed organization, institution is involved in terms of WASH. So chronologically, I would request first Mr. Ramchandran to kindly say a few words as introductory remarks. Mr. Ramchandran.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening to everyone. As ma'am has said, I am from National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, and it's not necessary to introduce my organization, but still I like to say that basically we are an apex development institution, financial institution, with refinancing as a major activity, and funding government is the second one as far as our business activities go. And besides this, we do have supervisory activities, and development perspectives and development interventions are another key role that NABARD plays. But WASH and NABARD is very close to our heart because NABARD has been working with a lot of self-help groups, joint liability groups, in the last 30 years. And we have been partnering with many of the non-governmental organizations as well as NBFC MFIs, NBFCs, and small finance banks who are in one way or the other have been socially sensitized and have been working with the underprivileged and stressing the importance of social hygiene and basic requirements which are necessary. Recently, we partnered, achieving the sustainable goals is also one of the key areas where NABARD has been investing its energies on, either in business or in development. And recently, we joined hands with water.org for creating a campaign because the weather has been created very well because of the COVID pandemic. And more or less, everyone has understood the importance of personal hygiene. And water.org joined for a campaign and NABARD participated. And that time we thought that just a campaign would not really help. We should have a financial refinance product as well to go hand in hand. And that's how we launched a special refinance product and encouraging the banks to go in for funding investment items that are being taken up by the individuals or group or enterprises who are indirectly or directly associated with water, sanitation, and hygiene. And that's how this has got evolved. Our heart and our activities are very close to that of the underprivileged, and our stakeholders are basically the have-nots and unbankables who have been there. And very happy to say in the last 30 years, we have demystified the myth that poor are not bankable. From there, we have come to a stage where they are the worthy worthy borrowers of the bank. And even during this pandemic, the microfinance institutions and the people have responded very well, and agriculture sector has responded very well. and which has kept the economy floating in spite of adverse situation that has been happening. Even though I know that this is a social sector activity where income doesn't get generated out of the investment that we make, but the expenditure that is saved because of good health, I think that compensates evenly to treat these as bankable avenues for the bankers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ramchandran. Can I request Mr. Murali Krishna to kindly say a few words, introductory words? Mr. Murali Krishna. Yeah.
Good afternoon, all. I am Murali Krishna, General Manager in charge of Agri and Rural Banking in Bank of Baroda. Bank of Baroda is an organization having 8,000 plus branches, and 60% of our branches are in rural and semi-urban. We have a network of 18,000 BCs. Mostly they are working in semi-urban and rural. Therefore, majorly we are contributing towards the development of rural and semi-urban areas. As we have a large clientele base of PMJDY customers, more than 5 crores. Similarly, we have a large number of SHG customers. Therefore, these are the people who require or who are looking for facilities like toilets and good water, drinking water facilities. Therefore, Bank of Baroda has launched a scheme towards this under WASH in way back in 2018 Feb, and we have also modified the same in October 2019. And therefore, ultimately, while Bank of Baroda is interested in business, we are also concerned to improve the living conditions of our citizens, of our people, particularly those who are backward, who are SHG members, JLG members. Therefore, with these few words, I will hand it over back to ma'am.
Thank you so much, Mr. Krishna. Manoj, can I request you to say a few introductory words now?
Thank you, Meenalji. And yes, it's indeed a pleasure to be here at this August gathering. Water.org has been working in India since 2008 on this concept, which LR has very well explained, that the underprivileged people are bankable. And a WASH loan is a health loan. And the saving from your health makes you take income enabling loans. So with that concept in mind, we started to then ask financial institutions, MFIs, NBFCs, then banks such as public banks and private banks, SFBs, then SHPIs and SRLMs, that this should be included as and the awareness should be built for this kind of a product. And as just to share with the audience, our financial partners have done over 13 lakh loans over this period of time. Over 4,000 crores of lending has happened, and at 99% repayment rate because of these very strong SHG, JLG models that have been established within our country. And today, just like Mr. Murali from Bob said, the SHG model can be applied. The business correspondent model can be applied. Multiple vehicles can be used to reach the end client and offer them something for them to take ownership for water and sanitation. I'll talk more in further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Manoj. Apurva, can I request you to say a few words as introductory, mainly in terms of what does WASH mean to USAID, and the key thrust, the key essence, or what's the value that we would attach from your institution?
Thanks a lot, Meenal, and good evening, everyone. And I would like to thank IFI for giving USAID and me the opportunity to be a part of this rather esteemed panel. Quickly before I kind of talk about WASH, maybe most of the people know about USAID, but USAID, or United States Agency for International Development, is a US federal government agency that leads international development efforts across its partner countries, with the aim, obviously, to push improve development outcomes in very tight collaboration with the source governments. And that's been our kind of objective in India as well, and especially in WASH. I can touch upon some of the more detailed aspects of our program maybe later, but in a nutshell, our objective in water and sanitation is really to support the government of India to create healthier urban communities by improving access to water and sanitation. And that's really in a nutshell. And the way we do it is, like I said, supporting government either directly through technical assistance or augmenting government efforts through our partners, our implementing partners that we work with very closely. And a big part of our thrust, which again I'll go into a little bit more detail in some of the other questions, is around promoting private sector engagement in WASH and promoting deployment of private capital into WASH. And some of those things, like Manoj also touched upon, we are firmly we also firmly believe that with the right kind of incentives, with the right kind of push, this is a sector that can become like any other sector in terms of attracting private capital and really getting us to the development outcomes that we all want to achieve here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Apurva. Mr. Singh, can I request you to say a few introductory words on behalf of Cashport?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, welcome, and please share a few words with us.
So good evening to every participant. So as you know, the Cashport Microcredit is a Section 25 company, and primarily focusing on poverty alleviation. So it is working for poor, and since beginning it realized that giving credit for income generating activity will not be sufficient to increase their income. So they have identified two areas, that health and illiteracy, where work is also important so that they can come out of the poverty. So health is important because it will increase their efficiency, and they will be able to generate more income for their family. And literacy is also important because if any member of his family or a child of his family gets education and gets employment, so he will be able to break the intergenerational poverty of his family. So on both these scores, Cashport was working since beginning. On health point of view, it is working since beginning and organizing various health camps and also promoting this sanitation products in coordination with the Finnish Society. Subsequently, in 2013, Cashport started a credit product named as Water and Sanitation Loans, and from its own resources, which was subsequently funded by SIDBI and other social organizations. And since then, it is continuously working for promotion of this construction of toilets and having water arrangement. So far, as of December 2020, Cashport has covered about 250,000 families. So families where this water and sanitation loan was provided. So if we presume that if a family is having 4 members, so it will be, the beneficiaries would be more than 10 lakh families. So Cashport has a regular program and it has a regularly planning for every year for financing to the poor families for construction of toilets. And this year we have planned for 60,000 households And next year in 2021-22, we have planned for 70,000 plus families to be covered under this program. So this is all, and we are happy to see that many other organizations are also showing interest in that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Singh. I mean, the introductory remarks clearly, one feels there's so much deep commitment, deep engagement, as well as passion for the activities, whether you are an Apex bank, like NABARD and Bank of Baroda, or institutions like Water.org, USAID, or yourselves like, microfinance institution. So it really clearly shows the kind of commitment and passion which is there around, WASH. So having set the tone for the discussions, I would like to now, ask Mr. Mr. Murli to sort of, you did mention in your introductory remark about, the work that you are doing, but just to let us know a bit more about what are the key attributes that you feel the bank, why the bank has been able to build such a fantastic intermediary network for WASH, such a good, portfolio. And in your view, how, you would be able to mainstream it? One aspect is about building it, of course, and then how you would be able to mainstream this product along with other products such as MSME.
Meenal, I like to take off. I fully appreciate and agree with you that there is a lot of requirement for mainstreaming WASH as an important activities in the set of complex activities that normally banks do. Even in respect of NABARD, we have multifarious functions and activities that go in. And if you see our refinance functions, we have combined agriculture, allied sector, MSME, all these, and even social infrastructure under one bracket. And we provide refinance assistance to all institutions which are eligible. But in this gamut of activities that happens, it loses sight of the specializations and importance that is required. And that's the main reason that we have come out with a concessional refinance, and we coined it as a special refinance schemes for WASH, so that every banker gets attracted towards this special scheme, and they also understand and appreciate that this is special incentivization is required for WASH. We have been supporting the government as well in Swachh Bharat, as well as in Prime Minister Awas Yojana, which is there, which is for housing, where government is trying to push housing as well, housing for all, as well as sanitation facilities at every place, so that even a single person in our country is not left with sanitation facilities around it, particularly the ODFs, which are important. But these efforts can be one-time efforts. But the sustainability of these things would come only when bankers and the financial institution, which are the mainstay of the economic sector, comes and fills up that particular gap. It requires in terms of maintenance, it requires in terms of expansion, the ancillary activities that could be provided, and certain other activities which facilitate these things, like even sanitary pads, hygiene, our sanitizers, mask, all these things also pave way for your regular hygiene when this COVID situation has happened. And there are small people who are doing this job. And with the same focus, we brought this special refinance scheme where the entire gamut of activities which I have told you are covered. You see the Reserve Bank of India guidelines on this, for which encourages the bank. It is one of the priority sector items among the so many. And I really appreciate what Murli Krishna has said, that Bank of Baroda has been concentrating exclusively on WASH on certain through exclusive schemes. And I am really very fascinated to hear from Manoj saying that 4,000 crores have already gone into WASH programs. And these are the types of initiatives that are required. And we are attempted to give a special focus to WASH through our schemes. Over to Murli Krishna.
Yeah, Murli ji, if you could, throw a bit more light from perspective of Bob,
Yeah. See, basically what happened over a period of time, if you see, there is a change of mindset in rural and semi-urban people. That is what prompted us to launch this scheme. People wanted these toilet facilities, drinking water facilities at home. This is the trigger point where we thought, no, that since the demand has started coming from this segment, we should do something. This is basically what Mr. Ramchandran was saying is right. This is basically not an income generating activity. Therefore, people who have sufficient resources, they need no financing. But those who really want, we are there for them. The second important thing which has triggered is post-COVID, large number of urban migrants, they travel to rural areas. Now they wanted the similar facilities what they used to enjoy in metros and urban places. Therefore, that is another point which has given a boost to the demand. Of course, the demand is not that large scale where we can say that yes, immediately we can streamline or match with any MSME loans. We have not arrived at that moment of time. But yes, definitely it has started. The demand has started. People are more conscious, health conscious now. But it will take some more time before we talk about streamlining, making it a major banking product. But things have started, things will improve also. One of the things is the repayment would be an issue. Definitely, NABARD is trying, they are refinancing, that is a great effort. But what probably we are looking at is whether anybody can guarantee this. If there is a credit guarantee of sort of thing is available, probably it will boost not only the demand, at the same time the funding side also. And at the juncture, other than Bank of Baroda, I don't see too many major players in this field. Nevertheless, we have started and we will definitely take it forward. And it's really interesting to be in this space, particularly when we are alone in PSB space, and we will definitely take it forward.
Okay, thank you so much. I mean, I would just continue with you, Mr. Murli, just a follow-up question, basically, follow-up point. Particularly when we speak about wash loans and the banking loan, I mean, the ticket size is so low. And, there are monitoring challenges. And as you said, repayment, those things are there. But I mean, how do you think, what could be better ways or better channels to sort of address this, Mr. Krishna?
Sure, can you please?
Did you hear me? Hello?
No, in between there was some audio issue.
Okay.
Hear that.
Okay. I was just trying to ask you as a follow-up question that, you are dealing with low ticket size basically. Yeah. And there is an issue about, customer sourcing, monitoring. So in your opinion, how best one could address this? You have gained that experience now, and how do you think one could address this issue?
We can address it in two ways. Number one, fundamentally, since PSBs have large clientele base, for us, I would say we have 5 crore plus PMJDY customers who are probably target segment for this one. Similarly, more than 5 lakh SHG members. But the thing is, number one, what the government or other organizations can do is can create more publicity, more awareness about the hygiene and the benefits of toilet and other things. That will create a demand from their side. Okay, therefore people will automatically come to us. The other thing is some of the good big NGOs, if they can come forward. Again, it is question of the awareness and benefits of hygiene, benefits of health, improving the living conditions. This is purely mindset, ma'am. Once people think it is required, it is a must, the mindset is changed, the demand will automatically come. And for that one, government can work, the NGOs can work, and people like we, our business correspondents, everybody has to work. No single organization can push or create so much of publicity. Together we have to do. Of course, to answering this question, yes, we probably at the juncture we will be needing some dedicated organizations, NGOs who can propel this progress.
Okay. I'll before going to other panelists, Mr. Ramchandra, you had some quick point to add.
Yeah, I agree with what Murli has said.
Yeah.
Awareness, when the awareness is being created through certain programs, we are also explaining to them what are the facilities available from banks. This is one side of it. And particularly big banks are not in a position to go and lend it in small pockets because of monitoring, as rightly told by you. But they can think in terms of financing NGO MFIs or NBFC MFIs which are there, who are specializing in this particular activity, particularly the small NBFC MFIs which are there. And they in turn will be in a position to localize and then support these institutions. Thereby, what is happening, the bigger institutions will on-lend to smaller MFIs who are specializing, and in turn, it goes in the needy basis to the individual people. Thereby, the traction would happen at a greater speed.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Singh?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, just taking forward some thoughts around this. I mean, the customers that we are talking about is, MFI customers, small ticket size, small loan, the same point. Now here the point is awareness is one aspect, but the whole thing about, that the customer is incentivized or the staff who is working is incentivized, As an MFI, how do you see these points, low ticket size and customer and staff, both, those who are engaged in the relationship?
Yes, actually, you just see we are working with poor and in remote rural areas. So promotion of this activity is very difficult, and it is very difficult to convince those rural people to establish a constructed toilet. So what we have done initially when we started lending under this activity, we observed that there is tendency of diversion of fund. So what we did, we have a force community health facilitators. So they are some literate clients who were earlier taken loan from us. So we have selected them, and they have been trained by the Healing Field Foundation on various health programs. So they have been given different modules, and we engaged those community health facilitators for promotion of this construction of toilets also. So these community health facilitators, they are delivering sessions in our center meetings. And for them, we are giving separate incentive for each session. So, and for this promotion of this sanitation program, we are giving separate incentive to these community health facilitators. They are expected that they will promote the village, rural, poor people, and they will link with our branches. They will get loans, and they will also ensure that it is properly constructed and it is used also. So for that, they also conduct periodical meetings, and we are giving them incentives for these works. So close supervision and monitoring is very much important. And the institutions will succeed, particularly when they are working with the rural and poor people, because they don't understand its importance as some literate peoples can understand. So this monitoring system we have evolved and it's very successful. So we are implementing this program where we have community health facilitator in our branches.
So as we understand, you have tried to create a separate grassroots team, efforts and systems which will actually push the initiative, much more, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Manoj, I would like you to comment on, the role of water.org in impacting WASH ecosystem. You are working in India, pan-India, worldwide, but specifically focusing on the, India. And if there is anything from a global perspective, we'll be happy to hear from you.
Yeah, sure. So, Bosch is a very unique product if you look at it. It's something which, over a period of time, people adopt it. There's a behavioral change, and people understand that this product actually connects emotionally with women, for instance, who are our SHG members. It is a product which helps them understand the idea of empowerment, that they can actually do things to solve their own problems and go on with their lives. So how did this go through with the journey? In a more detailed way, if I look at it, water.org, when we started it, we started to encourage that, yes, the government is doing their part, but the amount, and if you remember, till 2014, before Prime Minister Modi had started the SBM campaign, it was only, India was at 30% closed defecation, 70% was open defecation. How do you change that, and how many years will you wait for something to happen? So government, what water.org started to do was work with the financial institutions in providing them with technical assistance, providing them with the various behavioral change, messaging, training, capacity building exercises. And that slowly making them understand, working with them on risk assessment of the product. So giving them, okay, let's take 12 months period of time, see how your lending is happening. Are you getting the same response from your members? And slowly we started to convince them that yes, it is a product just like any other, and people have the same propensity, rather little better cash flow, and others have shown that even during demonetization, there is a good propensity to pay back. Now, next, what we started to work on was innovate our the funnel, the channels through which we were building this thing. From small NBFC MFIs and NGO MFIs, we started to build to larger institutionals. So larger NBFC started to play, Muthoot, Satin, they all started to come in. Grameen Credit Access played a very big role and has done a huge amount of WASH lending. And so we started to build with the larger players and SFBs and SHPIs. Dhan, Pradhan, they all have been doing this lending and very successfully been doing it. And finally, last few years, we started to take it to the banks. So we took it to banks like IDFC Credit, we took it to Bandhan, we took it to IndusInd Bank. And each of them has now crossed over 50,000 to 100,000 loans in their own books of managing it. So we started to feel good. And then thank you, Murli sir, that, Bank of Baroda jumped into it. And then just to update, after that, Punjab National Bank has started to do it. So now the PSBs have started to, one by one, started to understand. And just to complete, the RRBs now got into it. So MPGB became the first RRB to say, yes, I want to take this through my SRLM, the Madhya Pradesh SRLM. I want to take this ahead. So our next challenge, and globally what we are seeing is, that's where LR and NABARD, his enthusiasm comes into play, where refinancing started to talk about. Because refinancing requires a certain amount of financing should have happened. Then only the cases makes validity.
Yep.
Second, if Royston and Grameen started to saying, hey, let's create a micro bond for this, an SDG 6 micro bond. Innovation, right? Just think of it as the market is getting churned with new ideas of capital getting infused into it at lower rates, thanks to NABARD and others. SIDBI will saying, I can do something. It's always interesting. Everybody wants to now take a look at the opportunity. What it creates is, first it was household, now it is going down to the MSME segment. And so in the next 5 years, we expect a lot of work happening in the MSME segment.
Okay.
So that's where our journey has been, working with the government, working on the policy side, priority sector, working with getting it on the NRLM approval, and finally now getting it in a place where the DFS has said to all the SLBCs that, hey, this is a product, you can go ahead and also introduce this in at the district level, at the DBC level, and use this as another way to connect with the SHGs. So those are some of the areas that the journey has been there.
So fantastic. I mean, it's so encouraging to hear, not only the big banks, but RRBs, sort of getting into action. And personally, I feel very heartening to hear this from you. And also, I see that you have organically penetrated using the existing structures and systems. And very beautifully, the journey is going on. So we'll learn about it more. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Manoj. But before I move away from you, I wanted to just connect. You said something like it's a emotional thing, So besides being physical, there is a lot of mental kind of aspect associated with the wash. Whether it's young girls, women, or even men want to have a proper sanitation facility.
Thank you.
Frankly, do you feel that the current program designs, the structures, the monitoring, the feedback system, you are having a very impressive feedback system, whether all this captures the soft side of it? Or is it just about, we have 10 toilets and 4 taps and we distributed 100 sanitary napkins? Is it just like that?
Right. So I'll do it in 2 parts. So, something like this always takes time. Even if you take within priority sector, you take agricultural loans. So the agriculture got into priority sector in early 70s. And it took, believe it or not, 18 to 20 years. And most of the veterans will say it was only in the early 90s that the agricultural loan really, thanks to NABARD's efforts, they really started to take off in a very big way. Now, what we are trying to do is, it came in comparison, water and sanitation came into priority sector only in 2015. So in a span of 5 to 10 years, we are trying to do bring the message. And so I think if you think about it, in 5-6 years, already we have got a refinancing scheme available. We got USAID, which is doing a fantastic work in doing credit guarantee. We got working with USAID at the state level to build the ecosystem where every woman knows that I can take this loan. So rather than banks and MFIs having to push this idea, what if there is an internal demand coming from the system itself saying, why can I not if I can take a cycle loan, why should I not take a water sanitation loan? It is my right. I will pay back. Then the mind changes. Then bankers also understand that they know it's a group is asking for it. It is not so proposal gets approved much easier.
Yes.
Now, the reality comes is when you say monitoring, the ownership creates payments. We know our FI system fundamentally is strong in the country. We go through so many hiccups, but it always stands strong. It will stand strong at the end of the story. We will go through some tumultuous times, but it will come strong. That much confidence we all have in the way we have built our FI system. Now, so when people are willing to pay back, the system works. When interest rates are the same as market rates, then why hide the fact? Then just take whatever you want to do. Why say I will do a water toilet loan and I'll give you geotagging of that loan? Why complex yourself? Rather, so the people have started to take ownership and pay back into it. Now we also are finding that when we do this kind of a program, it is important that all of the people are willing to take more out of it. Now, I'll explain that. When our traditional mindset was, we have, government, and government did a great job, I have to admit, under SBM, they made 110 million toilets. But the government has done their part. You cannot, tomorrow if the toilet gets spoiled, who is going to come and repair it? It's something to think about, right? The government says, oh, under water scheme, I will provide water to every household. Very good. But from there, if the water doesn't come one day, should they have a water storage tank for themselves or not? Should they have a water filter or not? The underprivileged, should they not deserve the same benefits as we enjoy?
Mm-hmm.
If you have a family in Uttar Pradesh, I have been to, and if there is a family of 8 to 10 people, and one toilet has been created under SBM, every family has a toilet done. So the second toilet has to be created, right?
Yeah.
Or a bathing facility has to be created. That's where Cashpur says, no, I'll help you take a toilet cum bathroom loan. So these are Atmanirbhar ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And people can start taking their own ownership for them. So when you take ownership, you always pay back you don't do two things. You don't cheat on your own when you are excited to do something.
Yes, of course. Yes. Thank you so much, Manoj. I'll just say that we are having live polls as part of this session, and request all the audience to kindly, actively participate in the poll. Apurva, I would like to now come to you and ask you to say on how USAID's mission is aligned in terms of what you hear from all the banks and intermediaries and sector lead institutions speaking about. So what India is speaking, what government is speaking, how does your mission align to it? Could you just throw some light on that?
Sure. Thanks, Meenal. And, I mentioned it very briefly earlier during my introductory remarks, that most of our objectives and the way we work here in India is very much aligned to what Government of India is doing in the water and sanitation space. And, both central governments and, obviously the states where we work in as well. So within that broad context, I think three broad areas within water and sanitation that we look at. Number one being water provision and purification. And here our work is more to promote, low-cost innovations, to, develop clean water kiosks, for example, at different places, and really to help them, scale up and reach a, sustainability where they can attract commercial capital. Secondly, second area of focus, broad area of focus for us is decentralized sanitation system. So fecal sludge management, where, most of our grants and our partners focus on working with, state government officials as well as city officials to build their capacity on some of these newer technologies of sanitation. And then finally, the third one is around toilet manufacturing and usage access. We work very closely with the Government of India on the Swachh Bharat mission, both SPM1 and now working very closely with them on SPM 2.0 as well. And here, other than government support, we work with community members also, and through partners, help design community toilets, run awareness campaigns to promote good sanitation habits and, reduce open defecation. So that's really the entire construct, like those three areas. And like I said, one overarching theme here is that, everything that we do is to support the Government of India as well as to augment their efforts. And second is, that I earlier touched upon is engaging with the private sector very closely. One is through partnerships, and I'll just briefly touch upon one of those. It's called the Women Plus Water Alliance, and Manoj is very well aware whether that one of our key partners on that, Water.org, WaterAid, and IC. So here, this is a private-public partnership between the US government and GAP, where we are working with women communities in Madhya Pradesh as well as Maharashtra to promote good water and sanitation and healthy practices. And I'll let Manoj talk more about it. But those are the kind of partnerships we look at. And the second piece to our private sector engagement is really catalyzing private sector investment into WASH. And I know one of the panelists, Mr. Mulli, I think touched upon credit guarantees also. That's one of the primary tools that we use for catalyzing private investment. And I'll probably take a pause here and see if there's any follow-up. But in case you want me to, I'm happy to go into a little bit more detail about our credit guarantee schemes.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, could you just add a few more? I mean, that's the key thing
Right.
in terms of, the innovative.
Absolutely.
And whether, whether you are happy with it, or, I mean, in terms of scaling it, we always have very, very encouraging pilots, results, and we want to also scale it, so along with that, if you could add some perspective on scaling whatever work is happening in terms of financing.
Right. Yeah. So, our credit guarantees focus primarily on, that segment that Manoj talked about is, the SMEs operating in the water and sanitation space. That hopefully is going to be the big segment where financing will come over the next 4 to 5 years, but is slowly getting diverted there. But before I kind of, talk about those, I want to just talk about a broad construct of how we look at these credit guarantees and what are some of the things that we look at for credit guarantees. One is, alignment with our development objectives. And those were the ones that I just talked about. Second is, additionality, where, when we work with financial institutions and give a credit guarantee, we want to make sure that, the loans that are being dispersed under those credit guarantees would not have happened without the support. Thirdly, we believe in risk sharing when it comes to our credit guarantees, where most of our credit guarantee structures are pari passu in nature, meaning that, we lose as the lender loses. So if it's a 50% partial guarantee, every default loss is shared 50% between the lender and the US government. And lastly, and you touched upon it, it's, sustainability that we look at in our design. And by sustainability, I mean, we want to make sure once these guarantees are, run their course and they're kind of withdrawn, the lenders are able to, start lending into this space sustainably themselves. And there are other lenders which look at this as a proof of concept and kind of come in and do it as well. So in WASH specifically, we currently have guarantees that cover a portfolio of almost $85 million. I know that's probably a drop in the ocean given the kind of funding needs that this sector has. But the idea was really to, like I said, do this as a proof of concept, help financial institutions kind of wet their feet so that they're able to sustainably lend. So right now, like I said, we have 3 credit guarantees. One with a large private bank, which looks broadly at, project financing loans. And these are typically like larger ticket sizes, I'd say like $8 million and above. Second is with an impact investor, which kind of looks at that middle range between, say, $1 million to around $5 million. And then the third one is with a very, very small, NBFC, which looks at much smaller ticket sizes, 100, 200, I think, which is where the need seems to be the largest. And like I said, all these credit guarantees focus on SMEs operating in the water and sanitation space, and broadly the 3 areas that I mentioned earlier: water purification and usage, decentralized sanitation systems, as well as toilet manufacturing and access.
Thank you so much, Apurva. I mean, just taking forward this whole financing aspect, I mean, there is a requirement to do more. And yesterday we also heard in the opening, plenary about shortage of fund, especially small players. And we need big players, we need small players as well, who will act as fantastic intermediaries. So if, the panel, Mr. Ramchandran, you can throw more, light or given suggestions on, besides refinancing, are there some more ideas which might help to bridge the, I mean, USAID is doing a fantastic job there, but from your viewpoint, is there something more that we can do in terms of, enhancing the fund flow, especially considering that, big MFIs, big banks would play a significant role, but even smaller players who really are working, SHGs, and federations, the women federations are there. So what more can we do in terms of augmenting this fund flow?
This is a very nice question, ma'am. The persons who are very close and institutions which are close to the needy people and the disadvantaged people are the ones who can really deliver. The big mega institutions or institutions which are urban oriented or the elitist, which we call, I think they will not be in a position to much appreciate the need and the requirement of these disadvantaged people who are there. And I feel the MFIs, small MFIs, some of them who got converted from socially focused NGOs to microfinance institutions, I think they will be able to deliver much of our wash products. And even if you see the self-help groups or the poorest of the poor who are there, if you sit in the meetings, they would really articulate that they require very small funds to meet their consumption needs as well as their basic hygiene requirement, water, sanitation, and these are the basic things that they have got. Once they have certain amount of basic requirements, then they have look out for income generations and micro enterprises. And personally, I feel that these are the basics that an individual human being would ask for. And these are the requirements of the all human beings, irrespective of whether it is elite or the downtrodden. But opportunities exist for others, but for the people who are disadvantaged, it doesn't there. So my key takeaway is all the small NGOs and small MFIs who are there, I think they have direct access and they are the real approachable institutions by these have-nots who are there. But the big MFIs and big NGOs, say big banks which are there, they are also shying away from lending to small people. I think they will be able to respect MFIs, small MFIs, and the NGOs who work in this sector. And as Apur has already said, there are credit guarantee schemes given to NBFCs or big institutions. They will be able to use this for on lending to smaller MFIs who are really approachable by the people who are there. I feel once we bring respectability in the lives of people, there would be a drastic transformation that would happen in the economic activity of individuals. First and foremost, I appreciate Manoj and his initiatives that he has been taken. What we have brought is not water, sanitation and hygiene, but what we brought is the pride and respect to those people who have been living in the countryside.
Certainly. Mr. Murli, would you like to add anything further? What more can we could do, in terms of ensuring that the funds flow, sort of keeps happening at all levels?
Yeah. Mr. Ramchandran was talking about the presence of small NGOs and MFIs who can really do wonders in this space. That is very true. While we are largely present both in semi-urban, urban and metro also, but probably this type of activity can be taken care by them. And our role can be to fund them. Therefore, this way we can take this project to a new height. And basically when this mindset is slowly changing, and particularly with the migration of urban population to rural places, therefore this is the right time when this product is going to take off like anything. We have arrived, this product has probably arrived now, and every stakeholder, be it banks or MFIs or NGOs, it is the right time. We can do a great thing, and financially, economically also this should be viable. And if credit guarantee is also available, probably nothing like that, it will be a very good success story.
Okay. I mean, yes, thank you very much. I mean, you said very aptly and rightly that, COVID has taught us several lessons, and there is a lot of awareness. You find auto rickshaw walas also, using sanitizers, and whether it's a compulsion rule or I mean, they are concerned also about protecting their families when they go back home. So there is a lot of awareness, and we need to leverage this. That point is certainly there, and all the key players. We should see how we can quickly, sort of leverage this awareness and go ahead in terms of upscaling the activity, deepening, as well as funding, basically. So yeah, certainly this is a very, very valid kind of point that you have raised. Manoj, in terms, I mean, you could speak all about funding as a constraint, as well as would you like to also share, are there any other constraints? You are doing extensive work day in, day out, and your team is engaged. And besides funding, are there any more constraints that you feel need to be addressed?
Yeah. Before I address the constraint, I just wanted to address what Mr. Murli and LR sir had talked about. Very interesting. I think we've come to a place where we can look at, for especially at the SME side, concept of blended financing, for instance. It is an appropriate time when government also has responsibility, and there's also private-public partnerships can be done. So rather than under the 15 Commission pay the entire amount for a community water purification plant, pay a part of it. Let the government take some risk under their paper, 2 lakh rupees. Some of it comes as equities by the SHG members. Some of it will come as loan, as a debt component, and some of it the system will start working by itself. So rural India does not get clean drinking water because it is no entrepreneur wants to set up the business over there. It is non-viable. So after a few years, the business dies. If we want to do it, rather than investing wholehearted, like full 100% under the public funding, blend it. Another, interest subvention is a very efficient mechanism. Much more, if you are going to achieve your SDG goals, which you know that the demand is going to be there, we've got to become more creative in the way we use our financial mechanisms. So rather than the whole thing, why don't you do interest subvention and therefore allow the system to feel more enabled to do it in the next 5 years? Or perhaps, and this is where RBI has shown interest, and we continue to talk, and we hope others will also talk, can we create a sub-limit for water and sanitation for 3 years, 5 years? A sub-limit would create tremendous banking mechanisms to start acting on it. So there are tools which we can further discuss, deliberate upon, see the merits and demerits, but certainly we should encourage ourselves to think that way.
Yeah.
Regarding what are the other challenges, I think we have made, like I earlier talked about, that in last 5, if you think in 5 years of it becoming under priority sector, we still struggle a lot. If I still go to a branch manager, or I go to an agri manager, or I go to SH anybody, they will say, is it true? Can you send me the RBI, the policy? I have to say, yes, sir, I'll send it to you. Then you can please start lending to it. This messaging in the system, from our head offices to our branch offices, everybody should know that this is an approved and something that we all believe in. That's how it moves on to it. Last, I think this product will only do well when there is a level of collaboration, a mental level of collaboration. And I am very encouraged today at this dais itself. Look at the richness of collaboration we are sitting with, right from Kashpo to Apurva to LR sir to Murli ji, and fantastic place to that everybody is, all components are thinking alike at this stage. That's what will make it happen in the next 5 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely. Just taking for a cue from the point you mentioned about, the example about going to a banker and he or she himself being ever aware about the RBI policy and this. Mr. Murli, can we, could you, I mean, the SLBC is a very critical platform basically. And how can that be sort of leveraged, both in terms of sensitization, awareness, as well as in terms of, fund flow? Could you share a few thoughts on that?
Yeah. First of all, Mr. Manoj has taken a very good example about the awareness among bankers. Very true. The internal marketing has to be done. Once everybody is aware of the product, probably it will be easier to take off. Therefore, on one side, when we are talking about the external demand, simultaneously we should also talk about internal awareness about the product, the benefits of the product. Because now there is an issue of mindset both from the customer as well as the banker. If customer is given a chance to take 1 lakh for the purpose of 2 milk animals and for the purpose of construction of a toilet, probably he will say, I will buy 2 milk animals vis-a-vis this one. That is the mindset which needs to be changed. At the same time, if you ask a banker, he will also like to finance for the milk animals because that gives revenue and the repayment is assured. Therefore, this is where probably we are here today. But from that to changing to a level where the hygiene health plays an important role may take time. The way Mr. Manoj was saying, it may take time, but probably the time has come. Okay, people are changing and things are changing. And as far as the role of SLBC at the juncture, ma'am, every bank has not have this product. Therefore, at SLBC, they cannot. When SLBC talks, they talk to all the banks in the particular state. Therefore, this would be possible only when every bank has this product. Therefore, if we can ensure that everybody launches this product, number one. Number two, if everyone has this product and is aware of the product, the benefits of the product and the change in mindset, if these things are aligned, probably it will be the really successful story. Of course, even if 2 banks in the public sector are doing this one, still SLBC can play a role. Definitely, they can do it, and probably what probably you are interested to know is how SLBC can ensure or can impress upon other banks who don't have this product to have this product. That way, it will have a big role.
Okay. Yeah, certainly. I mean, Mr. Ramchandran, just taking the cue from what Mr. Murli said, that, not every bank is having the product. I mean, we don't have RBI here, or but we have you here. So could you say, I mean, what could be done in terms of, either policy or in terms of certain engagement, where we could see that this product becomes a regular feature? Because if you have to go to RRBs, it has to also filter from top down as well, so how can we do it? Are there any suggestions, how we should
as on
move in that
date, there is no policy restrictions in funding to wash activities. Reserve Bank of India has clearly laid down the policy part of it. But when it comes to creating awareness internally, like Murli said, internal marketing, I think there is a lot of gap which exists. This could be addressed through SLBC. It can be addressed in DCC forum. It can be addressed in any of the forum that the bankers or NABARD or Reserve Bank of India has it, or even Government of India. When they are interacting with the bankers, they will be able to they will be able to express the need for these things, like Swachh Bharat, as well as housing for all or water for all. All these things are slogans which have been given, and people in a position to diversify and see that it is all percolating, even though it is through government funds and government machinery. But once the message is reaching, what happens? It picks up. Today, under the microfinance lending portfolio, if you see, there is about 2 lakh crore of rupees that is being lent by banking institutions and NBFCs. But when I go back 30 years, maybe 25 years back, I still remember the days when I had to go to the branch manager, tell him what an SHG is and whether it is a legitimate one to open an account and whether they can give credit, if so, in what ratio. and they were all considering these as unbankable. And today I really don't go to a banker. Banker is looking on to this type of a peer group which is there, and without seeing anything, he's funding them, and it is coming back. 99% is coming back. Even in during COVID times, the first 2 quarters, people have been saying that there is difficulty. Moratorium has been provided, but the third and the fourth quarter, it is coming back. So what I mean to say is, instead of going through the traditional method of imposing through government or strictures or targets, what we need to do is we attract the private sector banks and good NBFCs to do this, create wider awareness program. Then what happens when there is an opportunity people are seeing in this? I think everyone will fall in line. Today, what the public sector banks feels is they are being used more as a social sector institutions, where they have to do the government job of opening so many accounts without any return. Even the Prime Minister Jan Dhan accounts, which was really done with a great force. Reluctantly, all bankers worked day and night and they opened the accounts. But when you look back today, I think they are all very happy to talk that they have the Jan Dhan accounts, because there is regular flow of income that is happening. There is regular operation that is happening. People are able to digitize their operation, but somewhere someone has to start. Someone has to do it with a singular focus that this is a very need of the community there. I think awareness creation, making all the people come together and everyone, government, non-governmental, bankers, everyone coming together in localized places, and we saturate it 100% with a commitment and mission mode. I think we will achieve it, irrespective of whether we have interest subvention, whether there is a part of government priority sector lending. Manoj had beautifully put it, like forcing it through targets in priority sector for agriculture. It has taken 30 years. And doubling of credit is happening without any insistence today, I think every 2 years. So only thing is ease of doing things and how things have to be really brought to the table as a product, and how it is delivered is more important. I think financial engineering and sensitization would play a greater role than stipulations that we would like to make. I think WASH is the product which is the time has come. People are, awareness is there. Only the product has to reach down. That's my view. Sorry.
Fantastic. I mean, we hope in the due course, learning from what's happening with Bob and other private bank players, others get looped in, and we take that conscious effort is there in terms of, spreading the word around and, encouraging. What you said is true. I mean, no one would lend a rupee to an SHG, and then now you see how beautifully it has blossomed the whole program. Before I move to the next question, Apurva, would you like to quickly add anything further on the finance engineering, re-engineering part?
I think Manoj, you had a point. Why don't you?
Yeah. Manoj had a point.
Manoj, please. I won't take too long.
No, please. Yeah.
So taking clue from, I just want everyone to understand that it is not just a small ticket item. Swachh Bharat movement happened, SBM, and was successfully completed by 2020. SBM2 has a lot to do with also the high ticket items. The creation of the HAM model is being done for the fecal sludge treatment plants. There is need for MSME lending. There is going to be a variety of lending that is happening that every banker can decide for themselves. What do I want to work on? But water and sanitation should be in their portfolio.
Certainly.
With whom I want to work? I want to work in the BC model, and Murli ji has done a fantastic. He works on, through his SHG model in Bihar. So aligning to your own mechanisms, each bank, even in PSB, every banker has their own strengths. Take your strength and then apply it to the ticket size that you want to do it. And final comment is, if you really want to understand the variety of products, then I would encourage everybody to please see the NABARD policy, the note which they did for refinancing. The plethora of items that they have put together. Nearly the entire gamut of household and MSME has been covered. And I also want to say, USAID showed us that by building the ecosystem, you can actually create a state, Madhya Pradesh and MP as a state where the machinery starts asking, people are asking for it.
Hmm.
So it's very important for us to invest in the ecosystem the way they are doing it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, Apurva, would we like to add some?
Thanks a lot, Meenal, and thanks Manoj and Mr. Ramachandran, Mr. Murli for your comments also. I'm just gonna, pick on one of the strands that both, Manoj and Mr. Ramachandran touched upon, which is, financial engineering and looking at blended finance as a tool to kind of solve some of the issues, the financing gaps. And, we can go on and on about the amount of the financing gap and how, the need of the hour is to, get more private sector capital involved into development. We need to have specific tools and, ways to kind of do that. Manoj talked about, some of the ecosystem building activity. That's definitely a precursor. But we do understand that, as donors, as philanthropic donors, our role is probably much wider in mobilizing capital in this sector. And, blended finance kind of fits into the bill right there. So from a USAID perspective, we are quite interested in looking at blended finance in the WASH space, where, we want our grants to be catalytic for the private sector to kind of come in. And, the partial credit guarantees that I mentioned is, one example of that. That's a tool that, USAID has been using for decades now. Earlier, it used to be under the umbrella of Development Credit Authority. Now it's gone over to the DFCR, partner agency. But, looking at more kind of instruments also, because we do realize that, every sector is at kind of, different place. And within, any sector also, there are different kinds of financing challenges that need to be solved. Right. So while some perceived risk can be reduced through partial guarantees, there might be need in some cases of a first loss guarantee. There could be need of 100% guarantee in some cases, or other kind of these blended finance instruments. Putting more focus on outcomes and performance. Using some of these pay for performance instruments. One of which Manoj also touched upon, that Royston with Grameen is trying to do. So we really want to kind of, start exploring some of those also, and, really take that issue to instrument or issue to, solution approach. And we do realize that, given how big the sector is and how quickly this is growing, there's really no one approach that will fit all. And I'll probably park it.
Yeah, thank you so much. All makes sense. I want to reach out to Mr. BB Singh with a question, but before that, seeing the time that we are at, we indeed have one question, which is regarding NABARD facilitate. So before I go to Mr. Singh, I'll take the audience questions first. So the question is there any facilitation program of NABARD to promote SHG federations as a service provider to own and arrange water enterprises, such as, as a drinking water, access to potable water is a big issue. Would you like to guide us on that?
Yeah. There is no bar on SHG Federation starting up this type of an activity. It is a group activity which is being suggested, and bank loans are available directly for this particular activity where they could be supported. And the bank loan, once it is given, it would be refinanced by us to that institution. And it is individuals, groups, or registered entities also can do all these WASH related activities. And it could be, once it is funded by the bank, it would be refinanced by NABARD. And in case you are a federation which is already linked up with NABARD in other promotional activities, I think there should not be any difficulty to linking up with banks for any financial support. But one thing I like to make it very clear is, don't go with an assurance that there would be some amount of subsidy coming directly from the government on these enterprises and activities. If in your viability analysis, you add the subsidy and then arrive at the profitability assessment, you may not be in a position to take off because any social enterprises with the support of certain assurances of viability gap funding and other things, we have seen earlier, that they have not succeeded. But people are willing to pay money for even clean drinking water, and by pricing it upfront, I think each of these units will be viable.
Okay, thank you so much for guiding. This question was from Shweta Malik. So I hope, Shweta, you have, got the answer, and wish you good luck. Mr. VV Singh, I want to come back to you with very important question. You lend directly to customers. You work, what has been the impact? Because when we work with customers, the gratification, the satisfaction, those are so critical and keep each one of us very motivated. So if you could share a couple of thoughts very quickly on impact on the customers, the household, the women who have taken a loan from you and build a nice toilet or a sanitary other drinking water facility. Please, this will be very important and very motivating.
Yes. So slowly, after a lot of works in promotion of this construction of toilets and engaging our community health facilitators for telling them its benefits and in insisting them for make it usable and always keep it clean and use regularly. So this is now having very good impact, and now those households are realizing that it is beneficial, and particularly it has raised their social status also in the community. So they feel proud of having a toilet and their family members are using it. So slowly it is impacting on their social status as well. And apart from health and hygiene point of view. So they are now realizing, and we feel that some grassroots machinery like our CHF should work to motivate them and educate them that what benefits are coming and how they will be benefited and how their family will be benefited. So it is increasing the impact in society.
Okay. Great. Manoj, would you like to add something in terms of customer, the impact and the kind of, feedback that you get? Is there something you would like to share?
No, I just a couple of things. COVID turned out to be a very interesting scenario for us because at one stage we were thinking that the lending had stopped, but the feedback started to come in very well, where there was an inherent demand started to come out. So people had to go and stand at a water post to collect water, and they were at risk. Maharashtra by chance has got the highest number of community toilets. Over 1 lakh community toilets. That's the highest in any state. And guess what? These community toilets were COVID hotspots. Naturally, 10 toilets together, everybody's coming, queuing up. There, it is a community hotspot. That's when the Maharashtra government itself realized that this is how you have to change it. Individual household toilets have to be created. People started to come back and say, that's why. And I'm always impressed that NABARD announced it on 2nd of October 2020. Mainstreaming the product, they didn't say after 6 months we will think about it. So the financial institutions started to get a lot of demand. And in Q4 itself, October to December, our lending has started to come. It's like any other sector. We are finding 70-80% of our numbers have started to come back to its original place. So by in the next 4 months, we are expecting we'll be back to our old numbers. That means that something happened in the COVID period of time that people immediately wanted this as soon as lending started and the practice, money started to churn again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have just 1 minute left for, closing this session. I had one very quick thought, and if any one of you could respond to that. in terms of disability, physically abled population, is there everything is integrated in terms of our deliverable, or quickly, is there something we need to think more and do more? Any one of you can.
Nobody else. I'll
Yes, sure, Manoj.
So, physically disabled, and
this is a very right question that has been asked. We are talking about providing all facilities of water, sanitation, but we need to keep in mind the disabilities aspect also in mind when we construct this type of toilets, as well as washrooms, or even the supply of drinking water mechanism that we are thinking of. I think this is a very, very thought-provoking question that you have asked. I think we have lost sight of this particular aspect when we are prototyping the construction of certain various activities. I think Manoj Saab will be in a position to give us a prototype model where the disabled people are in a position to be taken care of when they are in a position to provide these type of facilities.
Yeah.
In the normal course, because it is not centralized and concentrated, because it is widespread, I think local level application, when it happens, people would really take note of it. But as advocates of or awareness creators, I think we should also include this aspect when we communicate in our materials. Thank you very much for flagging such an important point at the end of the.
I mean, we could go on, sir. We could go on, but
very nice point, Minal. Very nice
yes,
point.
unfortunately, we do have very, very limited time, and I want to personally thank the panelists for such a warm and such a deep discussion, very engaging one, and also please accept my congratulations, and also to your team as well. What fantastic work is happening, and we will sort of progress, upscale, re-engineer, and see that the customer is even more happy and healthy going forward. Thank you so much to everyone for your valuable time, and I see Priyamvada there, and over to you, Priyamvada.
Hello.